All right, unlike gas, for these water connections, I'm going to use Teflon tape, right? You always want to make sure when you spin on Teflon tape, you spin it the way the threads go. So you can see I'm spinning the way the threads are going to go. Because if you go reversed, the threads, when you go to thread your fitting on, it's going to pull the Teflon tape right off. Eventually, you'll get used to this, and it'll just become second nature. You'll just always grab the Teflon tape in the same hand, spin it the same way. The only time it gets a little more confusing is when you're laying on your back or looking down on something. So I'm gonna take my ProPress female adapter, roll it on. My pipe wrench. As you can see, I disconnected the flue. Once I knew the flue was going to work where it was, I took it out of the way so now I can use this space to spin my wrenches. With tightening this is different than tightening your gas piping. This will be at about 80 pounds per square inch. So your likelihood of leaking if you don't get tight enough is a lot greater than you would with gas. But again, you don't want to crush this into place. You want to get to a point where it's good and tight, but not too tight that it's broken. We're going to cut some copper out here at the truck. I'm going to measure my 17 inches. Put my thumb to mark it. Use the reamer part of the cutter to put a mark on it. Open up my cutter, put my guide wheels on, and bring the cutting wheel down to the copper. Spin it around a couple times, tighten it a little bit. Spin it around, tighten it, and that will cut the copper. Easy peasy. We measured the other one at 22 inches, but I'm going to cut 24 inches because the hot water tee was not totally tightened on yet. So that measure could change just a little bit. So I'm going to cut 24 inches. Again, getting the measure, marking it with my thumb, scraping with the reamer, guide wheels on the copper first, bring the cutting wheel down, and spin it around. Every couple spins, give it a little quarter turn. That's it. All right. So we just put our hot water tee on, just like we did to the female adapter, right? I clean the inside of the fitting, and I clean the outside of the pipe. I'm gonna flux it up. Flux it up. Get my measure. So now I'm reading about 22.5 inches. This is exactly what we said, that we cut this 24 so we can make sure we take a little bit off. So 22.5. Scrape it. Out in the field, you don't have the luxury of using the tri-stands like we do in the shop or the vices. So you support it, open up your cutter, put your guide wheels against it, and bring your cutting wheel down right on your mark. Grab it with your hand, spin it around. Try not to drop your cutter. All right. We're going to mark our depth here. Mark our depth here. Slide them together. Slide it out. I'm gonna have to cut that just a bit longer. All right, so we run into a situation where we can't ProPress it all, right? So we have a fixed point at the top and fixed point at the bottom. So we can't make the pipes move further enough apart to get it to fit in. So I've cleaned and fluxed both sides. I'm going to use what's called a slip coupling. See how it slides all the way down onto the pipe? Right? So now I can bring that pipe over, put it together, and slide that fitting right up. Just like that. So now I'm going to solder a joint there and solder a joint there. All right. We're going to solder these two joints. All right, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and press the rest of the 1/2-inch joint. The gun angle doesn't matter. However you get it on is fine. Now we have our vacuum breaker. Our vacuum breaker goes right in the top of the water heater. Right? This makes sure that nothing would ever get sucked out of the tank and back into the system. The tank, all tanks heated have a tendency to grow bacteria, so you never want to drink or cook from a hot water heater. So this makes sure that hot water will not return. The hot water itself, the heat will move up the pipe, but the hot water will not return up that cold pipe back into the water.